I had quit my job
Okay.
6 months back.
Okay.
And I was very clear that I am not going to go for a full-time job anymore.
Okay.
It will be part-time, whatever,
Got
at
it.
my own convenience.
Yes.
And that's when I met Mohan. I was expecting to land in an ashram.
Okay.
But I'll end up in one office which speaks about financial moksha.
Okay.
It speaks about something like your money should work for you and you
Yes.
do what you feel like. See, I quit my job, but you know what I'm missing is that monthly income that's coming in.
Yes.
There's a certain sense of security in that, right?
True.
He said, oh, no worries at all. We can ensure that, you know, you get a fixed income every
Yeah.
month. You
Yeah.
can get that money.
Correct.
And we will ensure that the rest of the money is put in properly and invested and you will get this much returns and all of that. I said, okay, fine, let me try that out. But I've seen the money grow and it's the assurance that I had. I
Yes.
think that was, and the security, you know, that
Yeah.
I got. And the freedom to do what I want to do. And
True.
that's exactly what I wanted to do. I did not want to think about money.
True.
For me, it was more about I have so many other things to do, you know. So
Yeah.
I wanted to focus on that. If money is taken care of, you know, I can just focus on
I
that
get it.
wholeheartedly. One of the main thing was Anand Rathi investment.
Okay.
So I remember he had put it in Anand Rathi. It was a 3 years investment. I did see it grow pretty well.
Mm-hmm.
It grew pretty well in 3 years. It was almost 50% returns in 3
Okay,
years. Yeah.
okay,
It
great.
was very good.
Great.
And that gave me a lot of assurance. You know, it really helped me.
Today we have with us someone very special, a long-time member of our Rupee Rakshak family, a visionary entrepreneur, volunteer and a technical consultant in the food and nutrition industry, Srimati Devi Shri Mulakala. Devi Shri Ma'am has over 27 years of experience with giants like Unilever and DuPont, and today she leads her own ventures, Green Footprint, an NGO teaching government school children the values of food, nutrition, hygiene and sustainability, and Haritara Sustainable Solutions, promoting eco-conscious living for all. She is also a passionate volunteer with the Isha Foundation, deeply rooted in her spiritual journey under the guidance of her Sadguru. Beyond her professional and volunteer work, she has been a part of Rupee Rakshak for the past 7 years, walking her own path to what we call financial moksha. We are going to hear her journey, her life practices, her experiences, and even some memories, milestones like how she celebrated her 50th birthday with a very unique gift to herself. Namaskara and welcome back to another inspiring episode of the Rupee Rakshak podcast. This is going to be a heartwarming and an eye-opening conversation. So let's dive right in. Hello, ma'am.
Hello.
How are you?
I'm good. Thank you.
Ma'am, we are very, fortunate, and it's been wonderful to have you here in our studio today. So let's dig right in. Let's start from the beginning. So how did you first come across Rupee Rakshak, and what was it like, meeting Mohan for the first time?
So it was actually a chance meet.
Okay.
So Mohan had got in touch with us, asking us our NGO Green
Okay.
Footprint
Okay.
to do something for Udupi Goshala.
Okay.
So that's how he got in touch with us.
Okay.
And so we had done some basic work on how they can manage the waste in Udupi Goshala and everything. And then we had some ideas about how the project can be shaped up.
Yeah.
But we had to meet the Swami
Okay.
to take it further.
Yeah.
And so Mohan asked us, will you travel to Udupi? We said no. When the Swami comes to Bangalore, call us and stuff
Okay.
like that.
Okay.
So I still remember the day he said Swami is here. You guys come over and meet him.
Okay.
So we come to one of the metro stations at that time. We were picked up. And I was expecting to land in an ashram.
Okay.
But I'll end up in one office which speaks about financial moksha.
Okay.
It speaks about something like, so there was a picture of Chanakya.
Okay.
And speaks about, if you have worked for so many years, the rest of your life, your money should work for you and you
Yes.
do what you feel like.
Yes.
And I was at that stage where, I had quit my job
Okay.
6 months back.
Okay.
And I was very clear that I am not going to go for a full-time job anymore.
Okay.
It'll be a part-time, whatever,
Got
at my
it.
own convenience.
Yes.
And that's when I met Mohan. So I was a bit stunned. I said, I was expecting to come into an ashram. Where have we landed? What is this? Then Mohan said, no, this is my company and this is
Okay.
what we do, is what he told.
Okay.
Later on, he took us to the ashram and we met the Swamiji and all of that.
Okay.
But yeah, this is how I met
That is
Mohan.
how. So it was more like destiny making you.
Absolutely, absolutely. Because I was also thinking, what is it that I should do? Because I quit my job.
Yes.
I knew I'm not going to go back to full-time work. I wanted some flexibility. I wanted something where, my finances are taken care of properly.
Yes.
And I thought, okay, this seems like a good, good solution.
Yeah.
Let me try it out, So,
So it all sort of worked out for you in the beginning.
yes, yes.
Yeah, great. So, what made you trust Rupi Rakshak with your investments, right? Especially in an industry where there are so many people doing the same thing, right? In terms of financial investment advisory. So, you had so many options, but still you chose Rupi Rakshak.
Frankly speaking, I wasn't even looking at a financial advisory as an option.
Okay.
I wasn't quite aware of that because I was so busy with life itself,
Yes.
with my job and children and the whole thing. I really never thought as much about money. But the fact that I met Mohan when I was going to meet a Swamiji is what made me feel, okay, maybe this is something I should
Yes.
trust,
Yeah.
And I did have my doubts initially. And I spoke to a couple of my friends and everybody, and they said, you should check out if they have SEBI,
SEBI registered, yeah,
registration, do they have this, that, and stuff like that. And I think at that time they were still a little small at that time. I
Yes.
think, he was still, I think at that point he did have SEBI registration, but something else was not there and so on and so forth. And by that time, I had also done some financial planning, sort of, how it is. Everybody, they keep telling you something.
Yes.
Initially, it was Citibank, and Citibank, they told you, oh, you have excess money, this is what you should do, and they would put in something. And then I realized very quickly that Citibank is like any other corporate.
Yeah.
The person changes. The person will come back, another person will come and say, oh, that was wrong, please invest in this.
Yeah.
So it happened like that. And by the time I quit DuPont, I was introduced to one person in ICICI.
Okay.
And that person was apparently good and he was helping out. So I took stock of, because I had quit my job, I had time.
Yeah.
I took stock of all my investments and everything and I pulled it all together. I realized it was all spread
Got
all
it.
over the place.
Yeah.
And then I was with this guy. But it was just started, and then I also saw one more thing is that in banks they have a limited basket.
Yes.
They have a very limited basket and they have to play with that. So
Yes.
they don't have too much of an option. And then when I weighed what Mohan was telling me, he did send me a lot of information. He sent me about Anand Rathi, he sent me various things, and
Yes.
I understood that, okay, looks like, they have a wider portfolio. They
True.
can play around in a better way,
Yeah.
and they can also meet my requirement the way I want. So then I said, okay, fine, I have to start somewhere.
Yes.
So let me just go. So that's how I just, I don't think I scanned the market, I looked at
Got
people,
it.
nothing at all. It
Yeah.
just happened and I
Okay.
said, fine, let me just go
So it
ahead.
more like just panned out for you in that way.
Yes, correct.
Got it.
Yeah.
Great. So, can you describe life before and after Rupi Rakshak? Because, how things transformed for you after, you got into the Rupi Rakshak family.
So for me, before, of course, I had a job,
Yeah.
and I had a income coming in every month.
Yes.
And after I joined, so first thing when I told Mohan, I told him that, see, I've quit my job, but what I'm missing is that monthly income that's coming in.
Yes.
There's a certain sense of security in that, right?
True, true.
So, so I told him, how do you work this out? He said, oh, no worries at all. We can ensure that, you get a fixed income every
Yeah.
month. You
Yeah.
can get that money.
Correct.
And we will ensure that the rest of the money is put in properly and invested, and you will get this much returns and all of that. I said, okay, fine, let me try that out. So, so then, I would get this, whatever salary I asked for, I would get it every month.
Yeah.
And in a year's time, I realized I didn't need the money, but that fact that the money was coming in was an assurance and a security for
Yes.
me. And over the years, of course, I've seen I've seen the money grow. I've seen, of course, there have been a lot of changes every year. We keep changing the portfolio based on the markets
Yes.
and other things.
Yes. True.
But I've seen the money grow, and it's the assurance that I had. I
Yes.
think that was, and the security, you know, that I
Yeah.
got, and the freedom to do what I want to do, and
True.
that's exactly what I wanted to do. I did not want to think about money.
True.
For me, it was more about I have so many other things to do, you know. So
Yeah.
I wanted to focus on that. If money is taken care of, you know, I can just focus on
I
them
get it.
wholeheartedly.
Yeah, it's more
So-
like that feel-good factor that even though you're not working, you're still getting something as a
Yeah.
salary to make sure that, you know, you don't have to work about, worry about your expenses and stuff.
Correct.
Even though you don't want, something is
like
there.
pocket money, it's there.
Exactly.
You know, it's there for. I want to live a life of my choice, right?
Yeah.
At the same time, just because I'm not working doesn't mean I want to
Yes.
let go of many things.
Yes.
So
True.
that was, it's the assurance and the security that I got before and after. It made a lot of difference.
Great, great, ma'am. So, if you had to name 1 or 2 points that made you feel, yes, I'm on the right path, what would they be?
So one of the main thing was Anand Rathi investment.
Okay.
So I remember he had put it in Anand Rathi. It was a 3 years investment where you cannot touch the money.
Yeah.
So that was just kept aside.
Got it.
And I did see it grow pretty well. It grew pretty well in 3 years. It was almost 50% returns in 3
Okay,
years. Yeah,
okay,
it
great.
was very good.
Great.
And that gave me a lot of assurance. You know, it really helped me.
Yeah.
And the other thing is how the whole money is invested. Like for example, I understood how they actually plan and how they help us.
Yes.
Is whatever money we need is put in liquid funds, and whenever we need, that money is given when we need.
Yes.
So that and also that money is not sitting in a savings bank account with such low interest.
Yes.
Right, it's at least sitting in some place where there is some decent return, but at the same time there is flexibility, and when I need money I get
True.
it. So I think these are the 2 points which really gave me that assurance that I'm with the
You're on
right
the right
firm and things are going right.
Great, great, ma'am. So let's move on to the next segment. Okay, so you've often described yourself as someone who truly enjoys, the path of financial moksha, right? So can you share with us what this idea means to you personally?
So for me, it is just what he told about Chanakya. You know, it's just that.
Yeah.
For me, it is like financial freedom is the basics. Okay, right, and that gives me the freedom and the bandwidth, and the
Yes.
time,
Yeah.
and everything to give 100% to what I am passionate about.
Yes.
To do what I am passionate
Yes.
about.
And to worry about money the
Yes,
last. Yeah.
that- yeah.
Yeah.
No worries about money. Money is there to whatever extent I need. I
Yeah.
don't have great needs, but whatever I need is
Yeah.
there.
Yeah.
And I can do what I like to do. And
Correct.
I've been always very passionate about various things, right from, it's been a very long time, and I have had very passionate projects which I had in mind. I'd wanted to work for farmers. I wanted to do social work.
Got
There's
it.
so many things that I had. So this is what it is for me.
Nice, great. So I remember Mr. Mohan telling me about your 50th birthday, right? So instead of a big party, you chose to gift yourself a Kia car, right? And the best part is it was completely from the returns that you got, right? And tell us about your experience about it, and what was going through your mind when you drove that car home.
So buying a car is actually a big purchase.
Yeah.
Right. And so I was wondering, should I buy, and the car I had was also a pretty decent car. It was a Ritz, and it was 11 years old.
Okay.
So for me, I was like, no, I need a new car. I need to get a new car for myself. And I thought, okay, 50th birthday is a beautiful milestone.
Yes.
Why not gift myself something?
Definitely.
Just to feel good, right? But then I was wondering, do I really need to buy the car? I don't have a job. I don't have anything specific that I'm going to do. What am I going to do with this car that I'm going to buy?
Yeah.
But then my son was the one who really helped me out. He was like, Ma, come on, Ma. What is it that you spent on your car
Yeah.
before? Can't you afford? I was like thinking, should I go for this model, that model, the higher model? He really helped me through that whole thing. He said, you buy once in a lifetime, just buy the best one in that segment.
Correct.
I said, fine. So he only found out Kia for me. He said,
Okay.
Ma, you're going to like it, get it. And I went and bought it. That's
So
it.
he gave you that push to finally, be that.
More than push, it is the the gentle nudging to
Yeah.
enable me to decide
Yes.
what I want
Yes.
in that space, you know, because
Yes.
I was very clear I wanted few features, and I love my car. It's
Yeah.
like the features it has is so beautiful, you know.
Yeah.
And so I got the car, and yeah, it came home. I went. I remember the first time I drove the car after getting it.
Yeah.
Was I went for one event in Palace grounds where Sadhguru was talking about save soil.
Oh,
Yeah.
very nice.
So it was really nice. It
Okay.
felt very nice for me that I'm doing the right thing.
Yeah.
Only later I realized why I bought the car. I have traveled 40,000 kilometers in 4 years.
Oh my goodness.
I had
nice.
no idea I would travel so much, but I've
Nice.
traveled a lot for all the farmers in Karnataka.
Yeah.
We have set up farmer producer organizations as part of Isha Foundation, and I
Great.
am in my Kia. It's Kia and me, and I'm all over Karnataka, going everywhere.
That's great.
So yeah.
The fact that you actually were able to buy this from all your returns, and the fact that your son actually gave that nudge,
Yes.
like you said,
Yeah.
it was pretty liberating for you, I guess, after that point.
Yes,
It's
yes.
quite a big milestone, right?
Yes,
Yeah.
it is an important one.
Great. And you were also telling me about an incident where you needed funds and to buy a piece of land, and then you had to call Mr. Mohan to ask for his guidance. Can you please elaborate on that?
Yeah, so actually I bought a piece of land in Chikballapur. That
Okay.
was with my own funds, so that wasn't an issue at all. But
Okay.
later on I've landed up with some issues with regarding access.
Okay.
And because of that, one of the partners said, why don't you buy my land? You will get access to the road.
Got
So, but that was costing around 1 crore or something like that.
Okay.
And I wasn't really sure how I could manage that. So I just called Mohan and I told him, Mohan, see, this is where I am. I need your help. And he said, don't worry, Devi. I think you have your funds, or even otherwise, I can help you out. So don't worry at all. You know, that assurance he gave me helped me a lot in the discussions that I had with my people.
Yeah.
It's just that, that little assurance
Yes.
made me work in the right direction when it came to the relationship with those partners.
True.
And ensure that I
True.
get the right so now it has all shaped up in the right direction. But at that moment when I was really under a lot of stress, his assurance really helped me quite a lot.
Because especially when it comes to funds that big, you need someone to at least give you that sense of security that I'm there, it's okay, you
Yeah,
want to do
yeah.
anything, I'm still there. You
Correct.
take take decisions wisely.
Yes.
So
And also another thing was when it comes to land, right?
Yeah.
See, when it comes to money, people fight, but when it comes to land, it is bloodbath.
True.
So it was an experience for me which I was going through with those partners with whom I bought the
Okay,
land, right?
okay.
So at that point, this assurance was very, very
It was-
helpful.
Yeah. Very nice. Very nice, ma'am. So let's go to the next segment, which is our spiritual segment, right? So your life has also been deeply influenced by Sadhguru, from what I can, make out. So and your practices with Isha Foundation has also been, profound. So could you share with us how your spiritual journey has shaped the way you look at wealth, finance, and life itself?
Yeah. So I started my spiritual journey way back in 2012,
Okay.
where I did a program called Inner Engineering with Sadhguru.
Okay.
So that was in 2012, and I was practicing quite regularly.
Okay.
And I think 2018 is when I quit my job, and it happened for a reason, because I was attending, in fact, a more advanced program
Okay.
called Samyama
Okay.
in March of 2019.
Okay.
And just before going for Samyama is when I came to meet Mohan.
Okay.
And then I went for this program.
Got it.
The reason why I quit my job was I wanted to progress my spiritual journey.
Got
I
it.
wanted to, life had been so hectic since then, and I really wanted to sit back,
Yeah.
breathe, just look within myself and see, what the hell
Yeah.
is happening,
Yeah.
kind of thing, right? So I got the entire space to just progress on my practices, to work
Yeah.
on it, volunteer with Isha Foundation. So I had all these opportunities after I quit my job. And I used to still worry about my finances at that point in time, right? But over a period of time, it has become something that I don't worry about at all. It
Got
just doesn't come into my mind. I would think earlier, I would think a little bit when I'm spending. Am I spending more? Am I spending less? Am I doing the right thing?
Yeah.
those questions would come into my mind.
The thought is always there.
It's there. But now, no, nothing at all. It's just not there. Okay, when I need money, money will come. You know, somehow, I don't know, I think it's the spiritual journey which makes you like that. You're just not worried about anything.
Yeah.
Things just happen when they are supposed to happen. And
Yeah.
so it's very different. Very,
Yes.
very different
Yes.
when you are on your spiritual path.
True. And also, you know, you're at that stage of your life where, you know, you're like, I need to give importance to things that matter to me more.
Yeah.
And, you know, the fact that you had to take up, you know, a step back and reflect on life as its, you know, whole through
Yeah.
your spiritual journey matters a lot. So
Yeah,
that's a very nice thing, ma'am. And how do you balance material pursuit of financial independence, you know, with the spiritual patience of inner growth?
I just have basic needs. I want to travel once a while,
Yeah.
go to different places. Like
Yeah.
recently, I went to Bhutan. And
Okay.
Yeah. So whenever I want to travel, I want to travel.
Got it.
And then I have my social work that I'm
Yes.
doing. So
Yes.
all of that, it's a beautiful balance. And
Got it.
yeah, it feels really content. I think is the right word.
Yeah, great, great. So next, coming up to your volunteer work and your NGO initiatives, right? So you said Green Footprint, right? It is you know, such an inspiring initiative, I feel, because this is where you're helping school kids, right? School children, government school children, to you know, learn about food, hygiene, and sustainability. So what inspired you to start this journey, and what has been the most rewarding part of you know, this work that you're doing?
So, Green Footprint has been an initiative which has been going on since 2009.
Okay.
So, it had, of course, various legs to it.
Okay.
It started off by, you know, as part of Unilever, I got to travel the world. So, I go to different parts of the world, I see them, and then you come back here and you see there's so much of noise, so much
Yeah.
of pollution and everything. So, then the thought was, what can I do within my sphere of influence? Can I
Yeah.
do something?
Yeah.
So, that's when I started the waste management in my apartment
Okay.
in 2009.
Okay.
And Veena, my friend, apartment friend, she was also part of it.
Okay.
And so we both started this in 2009.
Got it.
And that was the beginning of Green Footprint, where we were trying to understand what are the different kinds of waste, how do we segregate,
Okay.
and so on and so forth.
Okay.
In that whole process, I realized that there is something you learn intuitively. Sustainability has been very close to my heart.
Okay.
In fact, I used to even run a sustainability group,
Okay.
a team in Unilever. While I was in Unilever,
Okay.
I used to lead one group there, and we
Okay.
used to work on various sustainability initiatives.
Got it.
And many times I realized that if you just bring in that basic information to people, people understand why they need to be sustainable,
Yes.
and then things happen.
Yes.
But it wasn't easy because it's easier said than done.
Yeah.
So what happened was, once we did the waste management, I just started one website. I
Okay.
thought, you know, I'll put a toolkit there. Like, how do you do waste management in your apartment? I put a toolkit there, and I'll ask people. It'll be a self-help kit.
Got it.
Anybody can go access it and do
Yes.
it. 3 years, 4 years passed. No, people come, just see the website, go away.
Go
but
away.
they don't really want to do
Yeah.
anything, you know, they don't want to take that extra effort to do anything.
Yeah.
Then we realized, no, this is not happening. Let's just start a company. So in 2016 is when we registered Green Footprint. And we initially thought, okay, let's start with apartments, because
Got
that's
it.
what we knew
Yes.
best at that point in time.
Yes.
It didn't work.
Okay.
Adults are hopeless. At least that's what we realized, right? And then, and children.
Yeah.
And children in the apartment, you should see the amount of interest they would take.
Yes.
And they would understand very easily.
Yeah.
Very easily they would understand the concept of sustainability. I think it's just innate to them or something
Yes.
like that, right?
Yeah.
So they would understand. So then we said, okay, let's try schools. And that's how we started with government schools.
Okay, okay.
But now, this year we got funding. We've got funding from one company called Tektronix
Okay.
for implementing this entire module in one government school. So
Okay.
we have picked up Ramurthy Nagar Government School.
Okay, nice.
And there now we have even our content, we have brought it up beautifully. We have added soil, valuing
Okay.
food, hygiene, nutrition.
Great.
You know, the entire thing. Wove it all together. And my daughter helped with all the design and everything, which I was telling you.
Yeah.
And we also have like a cute little handbook for the children.
Okay.
So what we realized is sustainability is something which which you just hear,
Yeah.
but to implement it,
Yeah.
it needs to get embedded in
Yes, you need to inculcate it daily. Yeah.
So we've come out with we've designed a handbook which
Okay.
has some information but a lot of activities
Okay.
linked to each module. So
Got
we have
it.
7 modules. So each module there'll be some activities which the
Got it.
children have to do it at home,
Got
which
it.
will, and they're all fun activities and which will give them an understanding of
yeah.
sustainability and sustainable living.
Yeah.
And the whole idea is you learn how to take care of yourself, take care of
The
your
environment.
family, and then you can automatically you'll take care of the earth. So
Got it.
that's how it is
Nice.
shaping up.
Yeah. So, in a way, a very practical sense of, inculcating sustainability into, young minds.
Yeah,
Because
yeah,
they're always, eager to learn something new.
Yeah,
Especially this generation, anything new, it just gives in the right stimulus.
True,
So
true.
I guess this is a good initiative.
Yeah.
Great, ma'am. So, and also with, Haridhara Sustainable Solutions, you're making sustainable living easier for common people. So, can you give us a glimpse of, the kind of impact that you're seeing here?
So, with Haridhara Sustainable Solutions, the idea was to have a business wing of Green Footprint.
Okay.
Where we can enable people with sustainable solutions which will make their life easier and all that.
Okay.
It is still in a starting stage. So,
Okay.
we haven't progressed much. We have done few implementations of solar,
Okay.
some in terms of effluent treatment plants. We have looked at good
Okay.
technologies there. We are still scoping.
Okay.
So we still have to, build that
Got
business.
it. And this is for the adults now.
Yes, this is for everyone, people who have purchasing power and
Yeah.
who will, at least get the right solutions
Yeah.
instead of,
Yeah, great. So, next, coming to the scariest part of the, interview, I would like to say. So there was an incident that happened, last year, mid, I guess, July something. So, there was a moment that you almost fell prey for a fraud/scam. That it was a FedEx fraud, I believe, and that has trapped so many people. So, can you walk
Absolutely.
us through that incident of what exactly happened?
Yeah, it's quite interesting. I never thought I could fall trap to some scams like this. But so it started with a call.
Yeah.
It said, there's been a courier which has been sent in your name,
Yeah.
and it has drugs and other things. It has been confiscated, and so I said fine. And where was it sent to? Some Andheri, some place.
Okay.
And now Unilever head office used to be in Andheri. So I said, okay, fine, maybe, you don't know at that point.
Yes.
I said, fine. Then they said, I said, I have not sent this one. And they gave me all the details.
Okay.
They gave me entire details on the consignment number, this, that, everything. And now when I think back, actually, they're very smart with the Aadhaar. They said it was sent on your Aadhaar number. But they did not have an idea about my Aadhaar number, okay? But it didn't come through in that conversation.
Got
right?
it.
And so also, okay, fine. So that happened. And then they said, since this is a wrong one, do you want to complain to cybersecurity?
Yeah.
I said, okay. I said, as a good citizen, let me do it.
Yes.
Why not do it?
Yeah.
So I said, fine, I'm ready to talk to the cybersecurity people.
Okay.
So they put me on phone.
Okay.
Phone on the cyber security, and they talk with a lot of authority, right? I mean, just like any police guys would talk, so they were talking with authority and all of that. And then they said, send me your, no. So they said, are you able to come on a Skype call?
Okay.
So I said, sure, I'll come on
Yeah.
a Skype call. And they gave me one ID, one Skype ID. So as I typed the Skype ID, as you're typing the numbers,
Yeah.
I would see different cyber security logos passing by,
Yes.
it indicates, right?
Yeah,
What is
yeah.
this one?
Yeah.
So, and then finally this one comes. So I did not get any doubt that it could be a wrong one because I was seeing all cyber security
Yes.
logos still there.
The
and
tags still there, yeah.
And they also had a cyber security logo. They also had a nice logo there.
Okay.
So got into that, and then as I got into the call, video call, there's a person dressed in a police. Now I can tell person. At that time I thought it was a real one.
Yeah.
Sitting there, and then started asking me my Aadhaar number.
Okay.
I happily shared my Aadhaar number, and then they said, "Oh, your Aadhaar is linked with so many scams all over the world," and they had asked a lot of personal details. Where have you
Prior
worked?
to asking
Prior to
this,
asking
okay.
this, they asked personal and where you worked, blah blah, and all of that, right? So
Okay.
because like CBI, so they wanted to know. So I said, fine, I worked here, I traveled here, and all of that. And then they take the Aadhaar number and they say it is involved in scams in various countries and all of that. So
Okay.
I said, fine, I have called to give this complaint
Got
because
it.
this was a wrong thing. And,
Yes.
but then over a period of like half an hour, it just went in some other direction. They just started, going deep into the fraud part, that so
Got
many
it.
countries and this and that and all of that.
And then try to put it on you.
And no, and then the best part was towards the end of that half an hour, 45 minutes call.
Yeah.
They're giving me one letter.
Okay.
I don't know if I still have that letter. They're sending me a letter
Okay.
telling me that I have been involved in scams and I need to report to the police station.
Okay.
So I said, I am based in Bangalore. I can't come. Can you
Yeah.
come to Bandra? I said, I can't come. So then they said, oh no, if you don't come, we will send the police right away to your place and all of that. And I am like, I said, what is happening? I said, why are you doing this to me? I called to tell you that I have a problem
Yeah.
with something that went wrong.
Yeah.
You are framing me instead. This
Yeah.
is not fair, I said. Then I saw those people were also shaking a little bit. They
Yeah.
were also a little doubtful. And I was completely shaken by that. And then luckily, and my daughter was also sleeping. See, if these youngsters, they know
Yeah.
pretty well.
Then they
some
would at
people-
least warn mama.
yeah,
Just
yeah.
keep that down.
No,
Yeah.
these people. So it's very simple. Sometimes, now I know. Now after all of this, I know. You just have to
Yes.
step back, pause, and say, "I'll come back in a few minutes.
Yeah.
I'll call you back later." Simple
Yeah.
things are enough. Just that pause in between is enough to
Exactly.
scare those people also.
Exactly.
actually.
Yeah.
But anyway, that was it. After that, I told them this is not right, and then I realized something is wrong. My daughter woke up by then, and she said, "Ma, what are you stuck in? Just come out of it," and all of that.
Got it.
And we just got out of the call, and
Okay.
and that's it.
Okay.
But the whole experience, I was shaken.
Yeah.
At the end
Truly.
of it, I was shaken. And,
Yeah.
But then I thought, I mean, okay, I'm educated, I've worked so much, I've traveled so much, and I could fall into a trap so easily.
Yes.
How well these people are acting so well.
Yeah, yeah.
And then later on, slowly I realized, this was of course very early on when this scam started, right? Later on, I realized so many people actually
Yes.
gave money. So the next step, what they would do is, they'll say, see, I have this case against you. If
Okay.
you don't want to be as part of that, you pay us this many lakhs and we will ensure that you don't fall into it.
Okay, there's no court notice for this as such.
That is how they have actually taken money from people.
Got it.
In my case, of course, I wouldn't have gone to that stage, thankfully. But I was shaken. that
And
is
then
for
you
sure.
called Mr. Mohan.
Then I
and
called
narrated.
Mohan to tell him, this is what happened and what do you. Then he said, no, as long as you have not given any pin, as long as you have not done anything, it's fine. He said. So
Yeah.
I was also, yeah, right. I have not lost a pie of money. Then I also called my bank,
Okay.
ICICI Bank. And another thing I realized was just the day before,
Yeah.
a huge sum of money had come
Okay.
in. So I was in
Yeah.
the transition period, like
Got it.
every year I was telling, we changed the portfolio and stuff like that.
Yes.
So I was in the transition period.
Okay.
The money had come into my account the previous day.
Okay.
And this
The
day I
next
get
day,
the
yeah.
call. So then I went and spoke to the branch manager in ICICI also. I said, see, I think there is some insider information going out.
Yes.
I only got a lot of money yesterday and I get a call today. How do these people know?
True. Yeah.
But they say, of course, they won't accept
Yeah.
to any of this.
But
They say,
generally, these scams take place like that. Whenever someone is receiving a huge sum of
But
money
how
in their
do
account.
How do they know about it? That
That is
there's
the thing.
definitely some insider information because
yeah.
if it had happened any other time,
Some data leakage.
I wouldn't have had a doubt. But
True.
this was just the day before a lot of money had come in, and
Yeah.
then I get a call like this, and somehow they know. I
Yeah.
don't know how they know.
So at least thankfully there's no damage that has happened.
No
So,
damage,
yeah.
no damage. Only emotional damage or whatever little bit.
Yeah.
But yeah, then
Just a
good
little small
learning.
jhatka that came.
Yes.
Great. Okay. So what would be your advice to the community, to avoid such traps?
So like I already said, I will tell it again. Anytime you get any calls, anytime you are in doubt, pause. Just tell, I'm going to call someone. Because during the call, there were many times they asked me, is anybody at home? Is anyone else at home? They kept asking me, many times they kept asking me that.
Yeah.
So that means they also know, and what we should do is just
Yes.
pause. Just pause, put it on hold, tell them I'll come back, I have to take a nature break, anything, give any
Yeah.
bahana, take that break, think
Just
around.
cut the call.
Cut the call, call someone you know, and I
Yeah.
think simple. Take a pause. I think that's
Got
what
it.
is
Or
important.
just more like wrong number and just
Yes.
cut.
Now people are doing it.
Yeah.
But when you're into
Yeah.
it, no, you
True,
really
true.
don't know.
Especially when you have someone impersonating someone with
Yeah,
authority.
because there are people who have told like they got a call telling that their son is in the hospital.
Yeah.
And like that.
Those are some
things
very
like that
scary
is
instances,
very
yes.
scary. So
Yeah.
even there also, take a pause. Maybe call someone else.
Yeah. Someone whom you can actually trust.
Yeah,
And just
or
sort of
maybe call
verify.
that hospital also.
Yeah.
For example, if they told your son is in this hospital,
Yeah.
maybe call and
Verify
find
the
out.
facts before-
Verify
yeah.
before you progress. I
Got
think
it.
then it is fine.
Yeah.
It's now a lot of people know about it. So I
Yes.
think it's a lot.
It's something that has to be, spread across. The
Yes.
awareness has to be spread.
Yeah.
Great. So we're coming to the end of the podcast at the last segment. So a message to your community. So you've walked us through your journey of both inner freedom and your financial freedom. So what is your message to all those who are still searching for financial security or dreaming of financial independence?
So I would say start young. So nowadays, a lot of youngsters,
Yes.
when they start their jobs, I've seen a lot of these Rupee Rakshak things where I think Har Ghar Karodpati or
Yes,
something, where
yes.
you can just put in some money every month
Yeah.
and attain financial freedom at an earlier stage. You don't necessarily have to wait till you're 50, 60 or whatever
True.
to get financial independence. And especially if they, instead of investing in a lot of flats and apartments and all of that, I
Yeah.
think youngsters, if they start investing early, saving early,
Yeah.
and then that will definitely lead to a financial freedom at the time they want, the stage they want, and they can always do what is close to their heart,
Yes.
pursue their hobbies and enjoy life and
Yes.
things like that. Yeah.
Great. Thank you so much, ma'am, for sharing with us your journey and your experiences and some of your very great memories with us today. And from decades of, professional expertise to your, spiritual journey and also your sustainability initiatives, it was a very nice experience for you, for us, especially listening to all of your, experiences and your life so far. So, to all our listeners, I hope today's episode gave you both wisdom and courage to walk your own path towards financial and personal freedom. If you found value in this conversation, do share it with your family and friends. And don't forget, the journey to financial moksha begins with a single step. Until next time, this is Neeti signing off from the Rupee Rakshak podcast. Namaskara.